How you guys doing? This is Dave with MasterHold'emPoker.com. I'm going to take some time and show you FullTiltPoker.com. We're going to get on some of the play money tables here, and we're going to talk about sit and go tournaments, and when you're playing online in a sit and go tournament, what you need to do to be successful at the table. Alright, what we're going to do is get into a 6-player tournament here. If I can get into one fast enough. And the hands are going to be moving a little quick, so I'm going to try to keep up and give you some information about what you should be doing here. Let's go ahead and make this full screen. Now I'm recording this video in 1080 with DivX, so you might need to watch the video in full screen mode on YouTube in order to be able to really see what's going on. When you first get into a sit and go tournament on Full Tilt, they're going to give you like kind of a 1-minute window to get yourself mentally ready for the game. They don't do high card to establish the dealer button, which is different from some of the online software that you'll play with, and it can be kind of at a disadvantage. Normally when you start a game of Hold'em, they will pass out one card as high card, and whoever has the best face card gets the button first, where here it's just kind of random, you know, whoever sat it in the right spot, which really is not proper. I've heard some complaints about Full Tilt Poker from some other users because of little things like that. So you definitely want to investigate software before you use it, and get something that you're comfortable with. Get something that you think is fair and will work for you. Now when you're playing online, you know, again, we're at a play money table, so we're going to see some crazy stuff here. A lot of people who play online will say, oh, you know, you see stuff at play money tables, you don't see it real money tables. But that's not true. You see that Pat the Brat here went all in on the first hand, which, you know, seems a little bizarre. But I've seen people do that at real money tables. So I think the claim that play money and real money, you know, it's two different things, I don't think that's always the case. And you see here we have Ace-8. We're in a kind of an early position. I'm going to limp in. Limping in with a marginal hand is not always bad because you're taking your risk and you're minimizing it for a chance to, you know, maybe win a little bit more. If we don't get the flop, which this is kind of a scary flop, we can easily get out if somebody bets, and we haven't really lost that much. Here, what I'm thinking is there's a good chance somebody has a flush. Now this guy's not really betting a lot, so I'm going to call just for a chance to see what he has. I think if somebody had a flush, they might check it to try to trap me, or they might put a little bit more money in thinking, oh, their hand's the best, you know, and they really want to represent that. Now sitting here with a middle pair of 8s, definitely not a good board for us, and now you see he's putting a lot of money in. He probably has a flush, he may have even just made a straight, and it's really not worth it for us to try to stay in and see what he has. And this is just a big back and forth battle. One guy's got a flush. The other guy was hoping for a straight. He did make the straight, but you can't win against a flush, and that's something he had to know about. I mean, at this point at the table, you know, we're down to 4 players. This is a 6-player sit and go. And when you're sitting in a 6-player game, you can play a variety of hands you normally wouldn't play. Now, what that does for you as a player is it kind of raises your risk factor a little bit, because the people you're playing against can play all kinds of different things. But at the same time, it makes it so that you're not playing against as many people, so you can kind of get in the money a little bit faster. This tournament pays out to the top 2 players. The number 1 player, of course, gets a majority of the money. The second player gets a little bit more money than what they paid to get in. We paid $250 worth of play chips to be able to sit down at this table. Now, one thing I mentioned in our introduction video is when you're in the blinds, you got to be real careful, because in the blinds you're going to act first, as you see here. You know, we had to act first before the other people get to go. And the guy over here in the button, he has the advantage. So if he's holding a 10 right here, you know, I'm not sure, because I just see that he's betting. I see that I have a draw, but I don't want to risk another 120 chips to try and hit a 9. One thing we haven't talked about is pot odds. That's something I'm going to talk about in another video, explaining, you know, why would I make that decision, what leads me to make that decision, and that directly relates to pot odds. You can see here with this kind of big betting back and forth that the pot odds can get kind of screwy real fast. I mean, there's 255 in the pot. He's putting 255 in. He basically had a 2-to-1 option there. So he'd have to have kings or have a lot of outs, or basically cards that can make his hand better than what it is. And if he didn't, then he made a huge mistake by raising, or, you know, even if he just made a simple call, it could have been a mistake. And you can see this guy's not afraid to put money in. And he totally lost some money there because ace-4 is not a good hand. And he's playing a lot of hands, he's playing them really aggressive. And that could lead us to make decisions to kind of trap him. I think trapping him would work good. You can see here I'm in the best possible position on the button. I have queens. Good chance this hand is going to hold up unless somebody has a 6 on this flop, which is going to be a little odd. The only person I think that would actually come in here with a 6 is probably Memorialism, who's been playing kind of crazy. I'm not afraid to bet. I'm going to put 200 in. And we'll see what everybody's working with here. Of course, loosey-goosey calls over there. And Pat's been kind of tight, Dogfather's been tight, and you see they both fold. The loose player has gone on all in a bunch of times. Let's see what he's got. Deuce 4. He has nothing. He went all in on a bluff, and he just paid us off. If you're ever at a table with what Phil Hellmuth calls the jackal, which is the loosey-goosey kind of guy, you definitely want to look to trap them, or get them in a position where they don't know what you have, they think that they have the best, or they think that they can bluff you out, and you just make them look like idiots. Now you see we're in the big blind. Bad position, great hand. I'm going to raise it up here. You want to try and get a lot of money in with aces when you can, especially when it's short-handed. Now this flop isn't too bad for us right now. It definitely gives us an opportunity to stick some money in there. Like I'm going to put 150. And nobody really knows what we have. Now, there's some opportunities for a straight. I don't think Dogfather has anything. He's not really acting like it. I'm going to put a lot of pressure on Pat and see what Pat has. Pat doesn't have anything. And an all-in from Dogfather, he'd have to have a straight here in order to be any good. He's got King 7. He has nothing. And now we're heads up.